Hey, it's been a crazy month here in Los Angeles in the month of June, and I know a lot of people are kind of wondering what's going on. Is the city getting crazy? But um, it's not. It's everybody's trying to do the best they can. And today's guest is going to help us get some laughs. His name is Corey Craig, another dear friend of mine kept telling me you got to have Corey on your podcast because he's just a really nice guy, but he also puts together this show called Cool Beans, and I want to hear all about it today. I know he was an actor, maybe he still is, but he really has a great show called Cool Beans, which he helps up and coming comedians get their start. And I want to ask him about that. I know I've seen it a couple times at the Ice House, so I will definitely talk to him more about it. So let's take, a half hour, 35 minutes and learn about cool beans and have some laughs. And okay, let's get into it and welcome my guest, Corey Craig. Welcome to my podcast where I'll be speaking with guests candidly about interesting topics. So join me on Candid with Kimbra. Yeah, today's guest is a really funny guy named Corey Craig, which I know a little bit, but today we're gonna get into some more things. I'm gonna find out about you, right, Corey?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm super grateful to be here.
Ah, thank you. I just want to ask you, are you from the South somewhere? You have a slightly Southern accent.
I'm from Nebraska, so I think when I get tired, it just kind of draws out. But it's funny because it's like I'm not from the South, but I could definitely have a little bit of twang to my talk
Yeah.
when I get a little sleepy.
It's kind of you're a little bit of a hip hop vibe, right? It's like, oh,
hmm Yeah, 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 yeah. It's
right?
like cowboy surfer because I came to high school out here, so it's like like
Mhm.
the Midwest meets Cali.
Yeah, yeah. I was reading about you because, we were talking earlier about our friend Renee and how she does the gentle nudging, up like
hmm
six the 6 a.m. texts. Like, and I was like,
Yeah.
um, was she texting about me? Thank God she wasn't. But no, I'm really honest with Renee. That's one thing I love about our friendship is that she and I can be really, frank with each other.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, it's good. I like direct communication.
Yeah, yeah, and that's great. So I wanted to ask you about your background a little bit because I was reading that I mean I kind of figured you were an actor, but are you still doing the acting now? You
Yeah,
are?
yeah, yeah.
You're
Yeah,
like
still.
actively doing it?
I mean, I have representation, so I think that would qualify as actively. I think the state of the industry is in a very interesting time with just
Sure.
AI, with just figuring out where things are going. We have Warner Brothers stages being turned into pickleball courts, so
Right.
there's a lot of uncertainty. I hope California can kind of figure out some tax breaks and laws in terms of, getting more filming back here. But yeah, I mean, I'm still an actor. I run a stand-up comedy school. That's how I know Renee. So
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm going to ask you about that. But
yeah.
so your upbringing, I know you came to high school. You said you came to high school here, but
Mhm,
you started in Nebraska, like you said.
mhm,
And
mhm.
I was reading, I'm sorry to say that your father passed away like really when you were young, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
6 or 7 or something.
6 years old. Yeah, he died, and that kind of put me on my course. Like I think anytime somebody deals with something that young, there's always a search for external validation, for longing, and that was my need to have that. And I think that's how acting kind of came into my life in middle school, where I found a theater class that kind of helped transform me. And I wasn't the bad kid anymore. It was oh, you got something special to you, and you can use these characters and these people that you're playing to be somebody else for a change, as opposed to be the troublemaker or the bad kid.
Yeah, you utilized your angst and your everything that you were trying to figure out, and you used it for external to make people laugh, probably too, because people always tease me like you like to laugh so much. I'm like, I'm sorry, if I wasn't laughing, I'd be crying. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. No, it's like it's true. Like that's the thing that's been kind of this year specifically for me is just understanding that everything's a choice. I'd much rather choose to laugh than cry.
Right.
If you're in touch with yourself, that gives you that opportunity. So, it's beautiful to see that. It's beautiful to go, hey, I want to laugh today. And you get to watch something or you get to be with people who bring out that smile in you. And you
Right.
even know, like with these Zoom interviews, like if somebody's just like this and their face is just, you're like, come on, can you give me something? And if they smile, you're like, I see you. I can see so much more of you.
Yeah, that's so true. When I first started my other podcast, I had one briefly with a friend a few years ago, and I was doing tutorials and said on Zoom you have to be extra whatever you are because it projects. So I'm always like yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And you feed off that good energy, right? Like, who are you going to be attracted to? Somebody who's frowning the whole time or somebody smiling? Like, we were drawn to good energy. I really do think it deepens
That's
connective tissue.
That's a great way to think about it. That's a great way to analyze it. It's the whole good vibes thing, right? I never really analyzed it like that, but that's really interesting. Um,
Yeah.
so anyway, you came out here when you were in high school because it seemed like your mom and was it your aunt or your grandmother? They came with you or something, or a family friend?
Yeah, well, my mom and my grandma basically raised me, and my mom and I moved out here right before junior year of high school. I went to the LA County High School for the Arts. That was transformative for me because it gave me a chance to kind of start over. I wasn't known as the bad kid. It gave me a chance to reclaim so much of myself and really dive into something that gave me purpose. And I think everybody needs that in life. If you have purpose, you have hope. If you have hope, you're able to move forward through life with this eagerness to devote something to a specific area, and that was acting for me.
Wow, that's yeah, and you have such great energy. Have you always had that great energy, or was it when you discovered acting that you kind of utilized that?
I think acting has definitely helped me. I think also just even going back to like choosing things is
Hmm.
important to me. Like I love the idea that um, to decide means to cut out all their possibilities. So like for me, it's I'm choosing to be present with you. I'm choosing to do all these things, and like for me, I am learning all that now. So you're like, hey, great energy. I received that. I've not always been one that could receive things, and I would always kind of potentially in the past be ashamed of something. So this year, it's just been very aware of being like, I want to be here. I want to be present. I want to have good energy. I want to do my best to make people feel good, to have more gratitude.
Oh,
So
yeah.
every single morning, I start off with like morning pages, my meditation, and then just kind of write all those things out. So that's kind of my approach to life.
Cool, that's awesome. Yeah, you choose happiness, you choose gratitude, you choose appreciation. That's true.
Hmm.
I'm just a naturally kind of happy person. I know it sounds so corny, but I am naturally. But I think that's great to to choose. You can choose to be happy or you can choose to be sad. There's always two ways you can look at things, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's really like we are our thoughts, right? So if we can tap into that, if we can, at least redirect when we go a certain way that may not be the best for ourselves, like that's important. I think
It's
for
true.
me, starting off the day with the mental health of it all is more important because to me, I was the troublemaker. I was given medication. It made me overweight. And so
Oh,
going
really?
to the gym has always been a big thing for me. But
Hmm.
now this year, the thing that's changed is this is first.
Oh,
So
that's
choosing those things, like I have to choose to be happy first, and then I can go about the day. Because if not, my brain can go a certain way. So that's where choosing is important. I wish I could wake up and have just the happiness that you have. Maybe it'll get there. It's like lifting weights. At a certain
yeah.
point, it'll be there.
Muscle memory, muscle memory.
So that's what I'm working on, and that's what is so beautiful about communication, about comedy, is that, right?
Yeah.
To connect with somebody, to smile, to deepen those layers.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Yeah. So let's move forward. So you come to LA, you're doing the acting thing. Then how did this cool beans come all about, you know?
So yeah, absolutely. So I was at Warner Brothers. My
Yeah.
high school led me to an internship at Warner Brothers, and there was a producer there that said, "Hey Corey, why don't you try stand-up comedy?" And I said, "Hey, Mr. Producer, man, why don't you leave me alone?" You know what I mean? Like I didn't really want to do that, and
Wow. Getting
he
cocky
said,
there, huh, Corey?
"What's that?"
You're getting cocky there, Corey.
Well, I mean, I've always been one to kind of run to the beat of my own drum, so I was
Right.
like, "You don't tell me what to do." Like that was just my edge.
Right.
But he goes, "Hey, name me one comedic actor that didn't at least try stand-up comedy." And I was like, "I can't do that," And he's like,
Right, right.
"Exactly. So go and try it." I tried it. I did an open mic where a comic after me made fun of me for his entire set. And stand-up comedy is so
Oh,
vulnerable, I know. It's so vulnerable that I was like, hey, I want to create an inclusive and supportive and encouraging community. And that's how Cool Beans was born. We started off as a show that turned into classes, and it's just grown ever since. But it is all about community. And I tell a lot of the students that it's Cool Beans comedy is all about empowerment, self-confidence, self-appreciation, standing on your own purpose, and stand-up comedy is the byproduct, right? Because inevitably, what's the number one fear of adults? Public speaking. So if you do stand-up comedy, you're amplifying that with the goal of laughter. So for
Sure.
me, I'm going, great, let's do that. Let's communicate with that. But you're being vulnerable. So A, I want everybody to feel like this is a safe place. You should feel good. Just like I tell everybody, you treat an audience well, they're going to treat you well. So if you appreciate, if you have that gratitude, everything is in alignment. But yeah, it started because I felt terrible about a situation and I wanted to change that. And that's where Cool Beans is. And that's what's been successful since 2009.
Wow. So who would have thought you'd be this like successful businessman too? Because this is,
Hmm.
successful. It's like a brand, right?
Yeah, it's 100% a brand. We worked with thousands of individuals. We have incredible social media numbers from clips of students just putting their material up there. And the best is we've produced a documentary about a 10-year-old with autism who found his voice in stand-up comedy that was directed by my business partner, Suzanne Luna, who's a six-time Emmy winner from Ellen. So it's just beautiful to kind of have that world together. I have a mentor in Kevin Kay who worked at Nickelodeon and just, all these beautiful things. We won two Webby Awards last year for our work with a comedian with Down syndrome who I help with communication where I hold up signs behind him and help the audience understand what's being said and his confidence has completely grown. We have so many kids that will have a stutter and they'll get off stage for the first time and I'll be like, what happened to your stutter? I didn't stutter. It's like, yes, exactly. If you give yourself that permission, my favorite thing right now, what I'm really big on is the idea of name it to tame it. If there's something on your brain, say it. So if you get on stage and you're nervous, oh man, I'm nervous. There's a lot of you guys. Just say it and then take that power back. And that's the same as everything else. If you talk about what gives you fear, insecurity, unease, just own that. Get
Mm,
it out, say it. So that's my big thing right now. And I've seen it work so many times. I even had my own mom do stand-up comedy. She took my class and then
really?
she performed once. Yeah, because I wanted her to feel what it was like to stand in her power, her confidence.
Good for you. When you talk about your class, how long is that class? Is it like
Yeah.
2 weeks? Is it a week?
It's 6 weeks. So it's a 6 week class. The 6 week is the final showcase. We have the honor to hold classes at the oldest comedy club in America, the beautiful Ice House Comedy Club in
I've been there
Pasadena.
twice. I know, or three
Yes.
times.
Yeah, and it's always so fun. So week one, we work on writing prompts, getting to know you, kind of the blueprint of comedy structure, and then we build up towards the final showcase. So then we, get to utilize coaching from myself and another instructor. The fifth week is like a final run through, and the sixth week is an incredible showcase for family and friends, and that's what's beautiful. I've seen people just a normal accountant who just wants to get better at public speaking in their office, come and take a class and do that. There are people that, have gone on to incredible things. Audrey Stewart, and myself have our own show that we work out, and she started in the very first Cool Beans comedy class ever, and she's now a nationally touring comedian. So it's just beautiful to see this community grow, and it's all with that web of positivity and inclusivity because everybody deserves to be heard. But if you're going to be vulnerable, that makes you more relatable to an audience. And so we want this to be a safe place where people can say and do what they feel.
Yeah, and it seems to me, I mean, maybe I'm not being naive or whatever, but I feel like comedy is like the in thing right now. I mean, it's always been in, but I feel like it's ubiquitous. It's like everywhere, you know? And
Uh,
comedy
uh,
podcasts are huge and,
yeah,
you know, I think
100%. Comedy podcasts are huge, the social clips are huge, and I think realistically, one, it's fun because you can get a quick little momentary escape. If there's a minute clip on social media that has 3 million views, you're gonna check it out. And honestly, in this state of the world in 2025 with so many natural disasters, with
sure,
a country that is, unrest and everything that's happening
divided.
there, I think it's important to laugh. I think it's important to not take ourselves too seriously. I think it's important to find common ground in respect and in gratitude. And again, just smiling, right? Like if you just smile, that is so much better for you than,
I know. And also, through comedy, you can say things that people might get offended if it wasn't in a comedic way. That's one thing I
yeah,
like about comedy because
yeah.
even comedians said at first I was like, oh, but then I start to appreciate what they're saying through their like Dave Chappelle and people like that, people that can be controversial, but they say things through this comedic way. Usually they can get away with it if they're good.
Yeah. I mean, obviously there's a craft to it, so you kind of
Sure.
understand how far you can push the boundaries.
Sure.
But ultimately, to me, comedy should be uplifting. We should be, going at it in a certain way that people feel better after it. I don't like the punching down humor.
Got it.
Not to say any of it you were mentioning, Chappelle doesn't, it's just, it's a
But your
comedy.
style is different. Your style is different.
Well, I mean, sure. I guess for me, it's like I think self-deprecation, that humor is easiest because you can kind of go after yourself first. But I
Sure.
mean, Chappelle's a master. You learn the basics and then you can do whatever you want. But
That's
yeah,
true.
I think ultimately comedy should be uplifting for sure.
Yeah, I agree with you. Or for me, I mean, I like all different kinds of comedy. I
Mhm.
like kind of intellectual comedy, but I
Huh?
like self-deprecating comedy, situational, like Seinfeld, which he's kind of just like talks about everyday stuff and then turns it into something funny, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so I want to ask you about your Cool Beans real quick. So do you accept everybody? Like, do people have to audition to take your class?
I would say for the most part, anybody can come to class, like with kids, I work with them, in a very intimate way and where I make them feel safe. I kind of make fun of myself and then I kind of help craft and nurture their sets where I take on basically like a head writer
Mm,
status where I kind of help put it all together. In the adult class, yes, I think the only thing that I'll say is if it ever gets to a place where they're making somebody else feel uncomfortable or it's just not working to a place where it's positive humor, we probably will say, hey, maybe this isn't for you. But respectfully, I think we've done an incredible job throughout all these years and all these different wonderful instructors that we've had the pleasure to come through Cool Beans Comedy. Everyone's welcome, right? Everyone's welcome as long as you can kind of feel that good energy. And I love when, specifically like with the kids, you work with them and then you start to see them gel and they become their own little tribe. And that's what life is, right? We want to be part of a tribe. So they start really helping each other and gaining more confidence and having fun. And then you see that with the adults as well. So yeah, everybody is welcome. And you'll start to feel that good energy and you'll feel it off of somebody else. And you can watch somebody and go, hey, I learned something from that person, either good or bad. Like,
got
hey, I want to use that skill set. I want to understand that structure. I don't really like that, so I'm going to learn how to tighten it for myself. So it's really fun to kind of like put yourself in that perspective.
I gotta say, because I've seen the show now few times, and you do have like a super diverse, kind of
Mhm.
group, and
Yeah.
from like our friend Renee, who's she's appealing to a certain demographics, but she's appealing to it, but then she also includes everybody can laugh. It's universal, like
Yeah.
you talked about.
And for those of you listening, Renee is 79 years young. Like she is just a firecracker and she can put anything, she wants to talk about anything. And I think everybody kind of want to get to that place
Yeah,
where you can talk about yourself freely and not care what the expectation is or what people are going to say about you. But yeah, I mean, we've had people take class. Renee's been taking class, I think it's like 9 years. I think she started when she was 70. So there'll
yeah,
be people that have been taking comedy, or there'll be people that take class over and over again. There'll be people take a break. There'll be people that one and done. It's just it's always a new and fresh session. Our job is to make everyone feel supported, encouraged, and feel confident in knowing that it's going to be a quality show because you've been really working on the end goal of a tight 5 minute set. You have multiple friends that you've made from class who are going to have a tight 5 minute set. Then you got friends and family supporting you. And again, if you appreciate the audience, it's such good energy in there. You just feel it.
yeah. It's so true. And I can honestly say I can't think of anybody that wasn't funny. I don't know.
Exactly.
Maybe it's after working with you, but I can honestly say that nobody was like, "Oh my God, that was really,"
Exactly. Well,
But
that's what we work on. Again, if you feel half the battle is right, it's being confident, right? If we talk about communication,
Mhm,
there's a study done by Dr. Albert Mehrobian at UCLA, which is nonverbal and verbal communication,
mhm,
and 93% of communication is nonverbal. The tone of our voice, our
mhm,
body language, our facial expressions, right? The smiling.
mhm.
7% is verbal, the words that we use. So with that being said, if you get the confidence from being in a class with a bunch of people who are making you feel good, of course you're going to deliver. And of course, you have myself, you have another instructor helping you kind of craft and write your set. So I would hope everybody can be funny in their own way. You may not be Chappelle funny, or you may not get to the level where you're Seinfeld funny, but in those 5 minutes, you can just lean into your most authentic self. Another thing that I love to say is nobody can beat you at being your best you. So
That's
give me
right.
the best you. Give me the best you. Go up there, speak your truth, own it, have fun. If
Right,
you're
right,
having
right.
fun, we're gonna have fun.
That's so true. And you'll feel so much better, when you do. I think I did a little stand-up thing years ago that I was auditioning,
Okay.
and I remember people laughed, and I was like, oh my God, they laughed. It's like the
Yeah.
best feeling,
It is. It's an
that
incredible feeling.
the endorphin rush, right?
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. Well, and you did it. Because
Mm.
it's black and white at that point. Did you get a laugh? I did. Is it where you set it up to be? Uh-huh. Okay. You did it then. That's a win. You can
Right.
go, I did it, and having those moments of understanding that you achieved what you set out to, how beautiful is that?
I know. It's good to set. I mean, I like to do things too, which you probably are like this too, like challenge myself and do things out of my comfort zone. And
Good.
I think comedy is definitely one of those things because
Yeah.
it's not an easy craft, people. It's like, they always, what's that old saying? There's death and then there's comedy. I don't remember. There's something about,
Dying is easy, comedy is hard.
that's the one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so true though, because, also most comedy is subjective, so that's why you have to find those little universal truths that everybody will find funny, you know.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, so I wanted to ask you, you've been doing this for a while now. You said what, 2009?
Mhm.
Yeah. So have you ever like seen somebody where you were like, I think this person is going to be like, famous, or person's going to be like a breakout star. Have you ever felt that way about any of your people?
I mean, when we first started out, I would have Gerard Carmichael on the show. We'd have Melissa Villaseñor, Drew Lynch on the show. So all these comics who are now huge and household names now, we knew way back when. So for me, it's always been beautiful there. Then I'll send it back to Audrey Stewart, who took the very first class, and she's on her way, and she, comes in and helps out at class from time to time, and just developing projects with her. So you can see it, you get a sense of it. I love seeing these kids where Jack Hart comes to mind where he found himself. This is his superpower. He's like, I feel really, really good. So to me, you
Awesome.
can always see it. I can't predict the future, but I can predict who's having fun,
Mhm.
who's putting out good energy to others, and you kind of feel it. There's comedian friends of mine. I got to perform at the Improv last night, and seeing Destiny Barra, BT Kingsley, like friends that I've known in comedy for years
Mhm.
and come out and crush, like that's just a beautiful thing. Yeah.
Didn't you perform the other night? You were at the Improv or something,
Yeah,
right?
literally last night. Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
how did it
Yeah.
go? I got invited,
It
but I
was
couldn't go.
amazing. It was amazing. Like it's just so fun. We had a sold out show and a lot of the Cool Beans community was there. So it's neat to kind of have
Um,
the students there that they can then talk to the professional comics and kind of feel that it's right there. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just need to feel it, right? You don't know what you don't know. So if you can see a pro comic and you can go ask them a question, that's possible. Huh, that's really, really cool. Like how great is that?
yeah, that's awesome. Wow. Yeah, and you probably had so much support. I forgot all your students might come and see how
Yeah.
you did.
Yeah. And that's what it's all about, to say, hey, like I'm here with you guys every single week teaching. Do I go perform? Sure. And do you want to see your teachers perform? Sure. And that's what's possible, right? Again, you want to provide hope. Hope is the fuel to life.
That's the one on Melrose. Is that the one
Hmm.
on Improv?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Have you ever
Hollywood Improv.
have you ever performed at the Comedy Store?
Yeah, I performed at all the big clubs.
Oh,
Comedy Store, Laugh Factory, all of them. They all are fun. They're all great. They each have their own good energy, and
right,
you
right.
take it for what it is.
That's awesome. So how often do you do stand up though?
It depends on a given month. It
Yeah.
depends on what I'm feeling. I think for me. Yeah, it's just how I want to go about it. Meaning, I don't necessarily know if I want to be a road comic, and you obviously need to do that to kind of gain that. But I do love our classes. I do love our energy that we have there and kind of putting out that good energy. So it just depends on a given month.
Okay, so now the classes are at the Ice House though, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And the Ice House is amazing. So they have two showrooms there. So we take the classes and we split them in half. So half will go on one side with one instructor, half will go on the other side. There's a legendary room and there's the California room. So we split it up and then you get notes and then you flop and you get to go again, either with a new set or implementing the notes with a new instructor. And it's great to kind of put those reps in because stand-up can be a very individual effort. And so to get that community, that's what keeps it all beautiful.
Wow, that's awesome. So if people want to find you, they just go to the website, Cool Beans something.
Yeah, coolbeanscomedy.com. We're on social media at Cool Beans Comedy, and you can kind of just find out from there. And if you ever want to just audit a class, you can easily come and do that.
I know how often do you do these? Is it like quarterly or
Yeah, it depends on the year. I would say about every 8 to 10 weeks.
okay, so
Yeah,
that
about
takes
every
a
two
lot of time.
months, quarterly. Yeah.
Wow, so that's a lot of time for you though. I mean, you got to take a little break in between because it
You
probably takes a
do.
lot out of you, I would think.
It does, because you want to do your best to help everyone. We also offer office hours, so we'll hop on and look at the writing component
Mhm.
of the work during a given week and during class. So we do our best to make everyone feel that they are supported and encouraged.
Oh, yeah, no, it's definitely worth. I mean, if you do want to do stand up, it's definitely a great uh school. I don't know what you call program, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Program, brand, school, I would like to say that we have the most supportive community. I think that we are the best around at doing that and providing a space and a safe place for people to put out their thoughts, their feelings, and get feedback.
yeah, yeah. It's definitely worth it if you want to try it. It's a big step to do it, but once you do it, it's like, whoa, I did it.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. It's a huge accomplishment.
Yeah. So I know you got another thing going on today, right? You're going to a meeting,
Yeah.
big Hollywood
Well,
meeting.
yeah. I coached this morning, then I have some more coachings and a meeting. So it's been a day, but those are the good days.
But you
Like
start off meditating, and then you
uh
go to the gym.
Mhm. I did that. I did that. I had a coaching. I had you, and then get the opportunity to get to talk with you, and then
Yeah.
just the day just keeps going.
Yeah, well, I thank you so much for coming on, and we're
Nice.
going to put information under the YouTube video. People can hear
Okay.
this podcast on the podcast playground, but to watch it, I have my own YouTube channel, so I'll put all your stuff under
Okay.
the, you know.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing.
so maybe I'll see you at another dinner,
Sounds
uh,
good.
or I'll have to come see you perform when I don't have something going on. That would be good
Yeah.
too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're always around.
All right, thanks, Corey. I'll talk to you soon. Okay.
All right. Sounds great.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Candid with Kimbra. Candid.